Hey, what's happening? Want to do a little video journal. I haven't done it really in a while. I was kind of thinking about it. I want to talk about where does relapse start. There's a lot of opinions on it that I've picked up over my years, in and out of the recovery scene. I guess I'll speak on what I've seen and what I've experienced. With me and what I've seen with others, it's imperative as addicts and alcoholics in recovery that we try to hold ourselves to a higher bar than maybe even the average person because the stakes are a little higher. What I mean by that is like, lying, for instance. It could be the littlest thing. Like at where I work, we're somewhat on the honor system of turning our hours in. So I could probably lie, cheat, and add a half hour here, add an hour there. You know, it's that kind of mindset and that kind of way of being that gets me in trouble long before I put a needle in my arm or a bottle to my lips. Cheating on your significant other if you're in a relationship, I know for me is a big one. All that may not seem on the surface, may not seem related, but I know for me and what I've seen with others, it most definitely is. Once I start sliding back into that shady behavior or especially criminal behavior, that relapse is unless I stop that, it's inevitable. It's not a if, it's a when. So what may just seem like a little lie or little side action or whatever you want to call it, it holds greater consequences down the road for me. Holding myself to trying to be as truthful as I can in all situations at all times is crucial for an individual like me, for an addict and an alcoholic like me. And I would suggest that you hold yourself to the same because it starts in those little behaviors, not holding yourself accountable when you should. And it can be as little as, starting to arrive to work later, sleeping in a little bit more, not doing things that you should or you could just because you don't want to, whether it be laziness or whatever it may be. Maybe it's so simple as making your bed. Maybe when you first got into recovery, you made it a point to make your bed, to make sure your laundry was tip-top, your hygiene was tip-top. You start cutting off things like that, and you start sliding into that old you. I know that I do. And that's something, I catch myself with all the time. I have a counselor that I speak with regularly, and sometimes I'll find myself skipping sessions or shortening sessions, and that's where it begins with me. It's little things like that when I start, as they say in 12-step, when I start pulling my own self-will back. Because I already know what happens when Mark just completely does what he wants when he wants. I end up with a needle in my arm or a bottle to my lips or both. And for me, that inevitably means that I end up in a state of complete moral and spiritual bankruptcy. I will end up incarcerated. I will end up homeless. I will end up burning all bridges that have either been newly created or repaired. It's a given. It happens every time. And it starts off with just the little things, not doing cleaning around your house or apartment or whatever, when you very well could. You're just being lazy about it. I know it may seem silly and perhaps unconnected, but I know in my life it very much has been. Lying to people about various things, as small, as insignificant as they may be, are extremely dangerous when you're an addict or alcoholic in recovery. And I would highly suggest you steer away from that. And when you do find yourself doing that, correct it with yourself and with that individual. Accountability is everything. If we just let ourselves run wild, it will inevitably end up all bad. It always does for me. I don't know about you. I don't know about your loved ones or your friends that are addicts in recovery. But I think if you looked at a relapse that they had or you had and you traced it back days, weeks, and months, you will see that these little behaviors started.